is Tamika Tompoulidis, and I am the External Partnerships Associate as well as Career Counselor for the Lewis Honors College Center for Personal Development. And I'm very excited to talk to you all about the benefits to using Handshake for student recruitment. So we have a couple of different things we're going to showcase. You're going to see a little bit behind the scenes of what Handshake looks like on the student perspective. We'll have a couple of employers talk about their experiences, and then we'll also have an opportunity for you all to ask any questions. And throughout the presentation, if you do have questions, please feel free to drop them in the chat, and we'll make sure we will get to those. Or if you want to save those questions for the end during our Q&A, you're welcome to do that as well. So I'm hoping that this will be a great informative resource for you all to understand a little bit about what Handshake has to offer and how it can support your recruitment needs. All right, so like I mentioned, we're going to talk a little bit of the highlights of Handshake. I'm not going to go too deep into the technical sides of Handshake. We may have an opportunity in the next couple of months where if you have questions, we can bring in a Handshake representative who will talk a little bit more of the technical aspects of that. But I will kind of highlight the areas that a lot of our career centers use Handshake and the students. You'll get to see what students see on Handshake. So I'll kind of do a little demo of all the different areas of Handshake that students view on their own. And then, of course, we'll talk to a few employers on how they utilize Handshake specifically for that talent and recruitment. Now, before we even get started on that, I also requested to have Betsy Dexter from Lexington Chamber of Commerce and Meghan Pippenger from here at UK Stuckert Career Center to talk a little bit on the why. Why is Handshake such an important platform to use? How is it really useful? And what are kind of the things that maybe employers need to hear about Handshake before they even get started? So Meghan, I'm going to kick it off to you. If you can kind of talk a little bit more on why do we really use Handshake and why is it a platform that's been used across all colleges to share with us today?
Yeah, thanks, Tamika. So just to kind of equal the playing field, so for those who don't know, Handshake was actually created by college students from Michigan. They wanted an equal playing field with any other student that was in their same field. So they wanted to create this equal opportunity for that. So think about it that way as a student, is they can apply for any position and any opportunity that is in Handshake so that they have an equal playing field with anybody else in their demographic. And so that's the way we look at it as Handshake. For the University of Kentucky, we have actually had this platform going on 8 years. This was a platform that we found that was going to be user friendly. We had all buy-in. For most universities, some of them have multiple platforms. The University of Kentucky has one. So we have actually created all students that are incoming who have confirmed, they all get a Handshake account created for them before they start the semester. So you're looking at 33,000 students that have an active Handshake account and are able to use that for not only career appointments, job searches, internships, co-ops, resources. They have a plethora of ways to do it, and we give them an easy way to do it by using their Link Blue ID. It's really easy for them to do it. When I look at on the employer side, the reason why we love this is it's free for any employer to post. So when they're posting a position, you post it once and you can hit over 1,900 schools possibly with that one job posting. So when it comes to extending your reach as being a really simplified way of doing it, it's a huge opportunity. Now, each university has their own vetting system of how that's done. So myself and Sunshine, who is our new person, we're transitioning that role. We actually vet through all those positions and internships and job postings that come through it, but it's really easy for us to be able to add contacts and all that. So you think about that one posting, you might be hitting up to 33,000 students, depending on what that job is. It's a really easy way for them to post. If you have an external place for them to post that position, it actually redirects them to where that needs to go. So if they need to go onto your website, they need to go onto a separate Indeed or something else, you can actually put in that link for them to redirect them to go to the place that you need to. So you're just using Handshake as a filter. So this is a really easy way for us as talking to employers for you to extend your reach, especially with the University of Kentucky, but also knowing that your recruiting isn't just us, it's other places. And so we understand we want UK students to be part of your candidate pool, but we understand that your recruiting guideline is branching out to other institutions as well.
Great. And hi, everyone. I'm Betsy Dexter. I'm our Senior Vice President of Talent Education Strategy at Commerce Lexington, which is the chamber here in Lexington. And as many of you know and feel, having talent is going to be probably your number one issue as you think about your business. And so one of the things that we're thinking about and trying to focus on at Commerce Lexington is how we attract and retain talent in the region. And so retaining them is going to be a massive piece to this puzzle as we think about the future of the workforce and making sure we have enough people to fill the jobs in the region. And so Handshake is an absolute wonderful platform that we all support, and we're hoping to get more of our businesses on Handshake so that students can connect to businesses sooner and get connected to them while they're still in college, because we know that that's part of the story, is making sure they see opportunity and get connected to folks in the region. And so I know Meghan talked about other colleges and universities in the region. We know we have 12 plus colleges and universities in the region. They all use Handshake. And so from a business perspective, we're thrilled to have a platform like this where we can connect with students easier. And so we're big fans. We're trying to get more folks on Handshake. And so I'll be listening today to hear from all of you more about it as we work to promote it to our membership as well. We have 1,900 members at Commerce Lexington, and we're going to try to get as many on Handshake as possible. So we're just really excited to be here and excited about the future of connecting those students to businesses. So thanks for having me, and I look forward to hearing more about it.
Absolutely. Thank you so much, Betsy and Meghan. All right. To kind of give a brief overview about Handshake. So yes, it is a platform for students to find jobs, internship opportunities. It's also a great platform for them to kind of get to know a little bit of the company. So when you create a Handshake account, you also create a profile. So students can go on there, they can follow certain employers, they can see any kind of updates that they provide, which is very helpful in case that there are employers that may say, they are opening a new location, and that could be a great way for students to see that notification on there. In addition to the job search, there are also opportunities for students to know about career events happening on campus. So whether that is a career fair, a resume workshop, or anything associated even within their college, they will see that. So for example, if you are going to table in the College of Business, right, they will post that event in Handshake, and then college business students will notice that you are going to be on campus tabling. There are also some additional school resources that I'll show you all here in a moment that kind of help with their professional development. So if students are looking for instance, interviewing skills, we have a platform called Big Interview where they can practice questions, record themselves, watch the recording. There's even a great AI feature that will give them a little bit of feedback on how they did in that recording. And that, again, is just a way for them to practice their professionalism skills. There are a couple of other resources on there where they can look up jobs to see what the average salary is for a position. They can also see videos of people talking about jobs that they're interested in, learning a little bit more about the skills needed, the educational path. And so we have all these resources, again, right in Handshake, very easy and convenient for all students to access. And so what I'm going to do now is I'm going to stop share real quick, and then I'm going to show you all a little bit of a demonstration of what students see on their side of Handshake. So just give me one moment to pull that up. And the Handshake that I'm going to show you all is my Handshake account on more of a student side. It can definitely be customizable based on the student's major or interest area. So for instance, a student could go in there and can click all the different types of jobs they might be interested in, very similar to like LinkedIn, where they go in, they type in keywords that they want to find in jobs, and then Handshake will actually go through and filter those jobs for the students. Okay, so everyone should be able to see my screen. Megan, I think everything's good. Awesome, thank you. So this is kind of what the first page will look like under the Explore. There's going to be a couple different tabs that you see here: top job opportunities, videos, upcoming events. But here on the right side, or I'm sorry, on the left side, you're going to see a lot of different areas for students to easily access information. So if we go under the Jobs tab, it's going to look very similar to Indeed or LinkedIn Jobs, where they see a list of job opportunities and get all of the details. They even have on here, which again, I do not have the student side filled out, but they can also see what qualifications can match, right? So that's why it's very important when creating these job postings to be as detailed as possible, because if students are looking for opportunities that align with some of their skill sets and experiences, it'll actually show here whether they qualify for that job. And just like Megan had mentioned, if you have a job posting that's connected to, let's say, a website or Indeed, it can redirect them directly to that website and they apply. They can even save jobs for later. So again, very organized, very similar to what you would see in Indeed or LinkedIn. Under the events, like I mentioned, this is where they can see all the different events that are happening on campus. So if there is a career fair coming up, they will go on there. They can see what employers are going to be at the career fair. They can also see any kind of workshops that are happening on campus, and even opportunities for employers to come and speak. Like I mentioned, if employers are going to be on campus and they want to host an event, we can create these events in Handshake and students can go online, view it, and register as well. Students can even connect with each other. So if you are an alumni as well, this is a great opportunity for students to connect with recent alumni, but also current students. Maybe they notice that a student is working at an internship at a place that they are interested in. They can connect with them and chat. And of course, they can see a list of different employers, and that's how they can follow, get updates, and see when there's going to be an event on campus that will host that employer. And finally, the Career Center. This is where students actually schedule appointments with their career counselor, so they can schedule appointments. That resources tab, like I mentioned, it's filled with a lot of opportunities, curated content that focus on their professional development skills. Experiences is where they can find a lot of those internship and co-ops. So again, this platform isn't just for them to find opportunities, but it's a way for them to connect to career centers. And the more that we are connected to you all as the employer, the more that we can also utilize Handshake to showcase what it is that you all are wanting to share about your employer site, share resources, share opportunities. We can do that through this platform. So again, I just wanted to give us a brief overview of what Handshake looks like on the student side. If you have questions about that, please feel free to drop them in the chat, or you can save them for the Q&A here momentarily. Okay, so I'm going to go back to our PowerPoint presentation and continue on with talking about a little bit of what the employers start to see. Okay. So for employers, if you don't have a Handshake account, or if your company has it but hasn't been utilizing it, I really encourage you to think about how Handshake will kind of assist you all in that early talent recruitment. So like you can see in the handout here on the screen, one of the largest, most active early talent network. This is, again, an opportunity not just for UK, but a variety of institutions that you can connect with once you create a profile. You can create with students, you can connect with alumni, but it really is a strong platform to connect students with those outside resources, especially in times when they may not be able to see you in person, right? So if you can imagine, students may be able to come to the career fairs, and that's great. They can get that interaction one-on-one. But if they miss that career fair, they couldn't make it, Handshake is always going to be there for them night and day. So they can log in anytime, see opportunities, connect with employers. So kind of keep that in mind, that this platform is always going to be there. And then us as a career center will always continue to advertise this platform on campus as well. And speaking of, we're now going to talk to 2 employers on their experiences of actually using Handshake. And what's great is that our 2 employers that we have featured today, their companies were awarded the Early Talent Awards winner. So it's recognizing some of the top employers that have really utilized Handshake for the best of their ability for recruiting purposes. So we're going to hear from 2 representatives, and they're going to talk a little bit on how they utilize Handshake. So we have today Jenna Phelps from Keyence and Jewell from Enterprise Mobility. So Jenna and Stephanie, thank you both so much for joining us this morning. I have a couple of questions for you all to go through. And then, like I said, if you all have questions for them, please feel free to drop them in the chat. All right. So you all ready to get started? Awesome. Okay. So how about you all kind of tell us a little bit on how Handshake has helped you all connect with students and recent graduates?
So I can go first. I'm Jenna with Keyence, super excited to be here today. So we use Handshake a lot at Keyence. That's how we register for all of our different career fairs. That's also how we send out messages to students, letting them know, hey, we're going to be on campus, so come and talk with us. So lots of messages going out to students, and then also just trying to teach them, like, what is Keyence? I would say our company, it's pretty common for people to call it Keyence, are not quite sure what this company does. That's also because we specialize in the behind the scenes and industrial automation world. So really just kind of messaging students saying, hey, like, let's explain what this company is. And then also figuring out, what are you interested in? What career are you interested in? Is it sales? So yeah, we've been able to use Handshake a lot, especially for those on-campus events, but then also just sending messages in general, just helping educate students on what opportunities are out there and that we can provide at Keyence.
Awesome. Thank you, Jen. And Stephanie, I know, I think that your mic was muted earlier, but there was a delay, so we're going to test it out. Can you hear us okay? It's still muted on my side. Let's try. Okay, there we go. Now we can hear you.
You can hear me? Okay, sorry.
No,
Technology is how it goes at the times. Yeah, basically piggybacking off of what Jenna said, it's really just a way to help network with our students and kind of pinpoint the exact positions the students that are looking for. So we have our filters for every job that we post, our campaigns, our segments that we send out. And I think that that really benefits the students because they can select their filters for the employers, and we can do the same for the students that are interested in this type of field that we're offering. And I think that when you go to the specifics, it kind of cuts out that general broadness where you feel like you do have so many options and it gets kind of overwhelming. And it helps you kind of zero in on the options that are in your area with the competencies that you're looking for as well. So that's one of the reasons why we use Handshake. It's by far our best way of communicating with the students on campus, and then just several other specifics that help with that as well.
Yeah, awesome. And actually, to kind of piggyback on that, you mentioned a couple of different features. What are kind of some additional features that maybe you find most valuable for recruiting on Handshake? And Jenna, that'll be kind of the same question to you as well.
Yes, my personal favorite is when we have an event that we're coming up. So we just had the Higher Blue event at UK a couple weeks ago. So we really utilize our segments and our campaigns, which is for anyone that doesn't know what that is, it's a messaging system that basically lets our students know, hey, we're going to be on campus this time and day. And we actually have our sourcing teams that kind of run those reporting numbers to figure out, like, what are the times of the days that students are going to be checking their Handshake most often, what days to send them out. So we'll typically send it about 2 weeks before the event. I like to be a little more proactive and then send it out one more week, and then we'll send it the day before as well. So at that point, we're accessing 3 points of contact with our students, letting them know that says, hey, we're going to be in Enterprise in Lexington on this day. If you're looking for an opportunity, this is the list that we have. Here's all of our links if you want to further research our company. And then we even utilize that by sending them a follow-up message for the people that we spoke to at the event. So we calculate and we report all of the students that we interacted with, and then we'll send them a message right after saying, hey, it was so nice talking with you. Here's a link on how to apply. And then that really gets the ball rolling as well.
Awesome. Yeah, I love kind of the messaging system. A lot of good touch points with them. Jenna?
Yeah, I guess to kind of elaborate more on that messaging, I would say the biggest part are those filters. Especially for our company, we have 42 offices in the US. So a huge filter that we use is, okay, what are the location preferences of the students? Where do they want to be after they graduate? So that really kind of helps narrow down. Um, if students don't have those filters filled out, then it's kind of hard to say, hey, are you interested in a role like maybe in our Louisville office, or maybe you want to go to Tennessee? Like those filters. I would say another feature that we use, I know I mentioned like career fair season, things like that, but even outside of career fair season, being able to host like virtual events and seeing students actually register for those events, I feel like that shows a huge insight, especially when we change up the different topics that we're talking about. It gauges us to allow to know, okay, what topic are they interested in? Is it about adjusting to the working world after graduating? Or is it, okay, they want to learn more about what is tech sales or what is Keyence in general? So I would say those events are also crucial outside of just your on-campus events that we like to use.
Awesome. That's great. So yeah, we're hearing a lot of different ways for employers to kind of connect, again, not just on campus, but also online at any point in time, which is amazing too. Um, when creating some of those job postings and events and Handshake, and this is kind of more on like maybe a marketing standpoint, how do you make your job postings and events kind of stand out for students to really be attracted to them? Stephanie, I think, try one more time.
Can you hear me now? Oh, wait.
There we go.
You go. Okay, so sorry. I think I have to like press a key before I start talking, so I'm sorry. But I was saying, I think the most important part is just like the keywords and the phrasing that employers use. We've noticed that if we write, more than a paragraph, it kind of gets lost in translation where people skip over it. They're looking for those keywords of, for example, we hire for the management trainee program. So someone that's looking for that specific role, we're going to put management training in bold letters right at the top, internships, full-time opportunities, and basically like the main item that they're looking for. So we really use that to like focus on our wording and making sure that it's clean, it's concise, and that way students are understanding it. But then also just utilizing that communication and networking as well, using the filters that are going to pinpoint the students that are interested in maybe sales, customer service, marketing, or communications. We'll send it directly to them, but then we'll also keep it open for a broader spectrum in case someone else, might apply that doesn't have that degree or think of that at the time. So really just filtering, and then also like the keywords is what we use that really helps our post stand out.
Yeah, I would also agree with Stephanie. I think keywords is pretty crucial, especially when it is a platform that's reliant on its text, like messages that we're sending out. The job posting, it's all text. I would also say like agreeing with Stephanie, making sure it's not a super long description. I know we try to use bullet points. We know students are seeing all different types of job postings. So the quicker they can actually understand what the role is, the quicker they can see, okay, hey, am I actually interested in this, or should I apply for it? But yeah, I would just echo everything else Stephanie said as well.
Awesome. Yes, our students are definitely ready to kind of look, apply as quickly as possible and scan as much as they can. So very good. We talked a lot about some of the benefits to Handshake, but we all know that sometimes platforms might have some things that may be a little bit challenging. So have either of you experienced challenges while using Handshake? And if so, how have you addressed them as well?
Okay, I'm just gonna do a test. Can you all hear me?
Yes.
Okay, sorry. So one of the challenges that I have faced is we have our application website linked to Handshake. So when a candidate applies on Handshake, typically that'll transfer over to our online database. But there are times where we've seen that some students that have applied on Handshake don't get all the way through to our actual enterprise website. And so there'll be people that'll reach out and says, hello, I applied for enterprise. And it's like, oh, it looks like you've applied on Handshake, but we need you to finish the process and apply with enterprise as well specifically. So we've been trying to work with our team to figure out that disconnect on how to finish the application. But we make it now, and we actually got, I don't know if everyone did, but we had some updates on Handshake not too long ago that we've gotten to experience, play around with. And so now I have an email sent to me anytime a candidate applies for a Handshake position. And then immediately I'll highlight their name, go into our system. If I see they've already completed the application, we'll move forward with that. And if I see that they haven't submitted it fully, then I'll reach out to them directly and says, hi, so-and-so, like I see that you've applied on Handshake. Here's the next steps on how to finish that application. And then we get the ball rolling. So I think utilizing the notifications, you know, obviously you do get a lot of emails throughout the day, but it really helps because if a student's going to take the time out of their day to apply on Handshake, you know, they're going to be met with a recruiter that same day, the next day on how to finish the process. And I think that that's tremendously helped that one challenge that we've faced in the past.
Yeah, I would say Keyence has also seen something similar. I know that there is an external option to have them go straight to your page, but actually Handshake is trying to have us just apply through Handshake. That way we know, like, hey, if someone did apply through Handshake, we know not to message them again. We have no idea if they did respond to us or apply. So really making sure students are going through that process and double checking on our end has definitely been something trying to figure out. I would say kind of another thing that we've definitely encountered is obviously when students first make their Handshake accounts, that's when they fill out all of their preferences, locations they want to be in after they graduate, and they also fill out what specific kind of jobs they're interested in. What I've seen over the years is a lot of times students are not updating those. So when I reach out to them, maybe they made their account when they were a freshman or sophomore. So then when I'm reaching out to them and they're a senior, I'm saying, hey, I see you're interested in sales. Like, oh my gosh, you want to live in Chicago or someplace. And then I'll get a response back of, no, I'm not interested in that location at all. So how I kind of overcome that is I actually started telling students, I'm like, hey, no worries, you can actually update this in your profile. The reason I reached out is because you indicated on your profile that that's something that you were interested in. So really just making sure students are aware, like that is why we're reaching out to them, because they have indicated that they have interest. Understandable. They created the Handshake account years ago. I mean, I know that's how I was when I was a student, so I didn't even remember like what my preferences were. So just kind of helping educate students on, hey, that's totally fine if you're not interested in that area or the specific role. Make sure you update that preference, or else you're gonna have other companies reaching out to you with that same issue.
Yeah, that's a very good point. I've even seen that even with students like on their LinkedIn accounts, right? Like they don't update those either. And it's trying to get them, you know, maybe that professionalism of, okay, if you have an active profile, company's going to see that. And then yes, on the messaging part and making sure that the application is completed fully. I will mention that we do have Handshake representatives that can also assist in some of that technical support. So for those of you that may have questions about that, we can definitely address them later in the Q&A. But all very good points to reference that, yeah, there are going to be times where there may be technical difficulties, or maybe it's even just on the student, the user. But the more we can address them and the more even working with career centers, we can also kind of assist in making sure that those challenges are seen and that they are resolved as well. So very good points. So really now the last question, for those who, again, are still interested, potentially creating a Handshake account, what advice would you give to an employer who is new to Handshake? What would you say to them?
The first thing I'll say is making sure that when they post a job on Handshake, that it exactly aligns with the job that's posted on their external site, so that there's no disconnect. There's no, if we have like Louisville, Lexington, you know, Indiana locations, those are going to represent like the same zip codes, the same areas that are posted on Handshake. But then mainly the filters, I can't stress the filters enough with how concise it goes to reach out to your candidates. We actually, at Enterprise, it's really great because our whole North Central team will do like quarterly calls just utilizing Handshake. And we talk to all of other recruiters throughout the US saying, oh, these are things that I've noticed with my students that have helped. These are great ways to help more engagement. But we actually they don't encourage us to post a campaign or a segment if there's going to be more than like 5,000 students that are in that bucket, just because you get lost in translation. If they're all replying to you, there's only so much that you can do to get back with them. So we want to utilize it to, you know, if we're hiring for an internship for Enterprise, we hire for juniors going into senior year. So we'll put down the exact dates that we're looking for, the majors that are relative to the the position that we're offering. And then that really hones in on the specific students that are also in return looking for the job that, you know, you're looking for the candidate for. So it makes that equal match. And I think that that's important because sometimes people want to spread the word out there and say, oh, I want as many people to hear about my opportunities, which is great because that's true. And you do want to network and get your positions out, but you also want to send that to, you know, for someone, for my example, like sales majors versus someone that may be in art history, you know, they may not have that same skill sets or path that they're interested in. So I think that really narrows down, and you get to put more attention on the candidates that have applied that are interested in the role. So the filters for me is going to be something that will definitely help with the research and getting that in.
Yeah, I would agree. The filters are pretty crucial because that kind of gets you to your target audience as to who's going to be the best fit for the role or event that you are trying to promote. I would also say Handshake, you're going to send a lot of messages. It's kind of the best way to describe it is like it's a bigger pool and you have to kind of cast a wide net. Whereas other platforms, maybe LinkedIn, you can directly just message more targeted people, but you don't need to send as many messages to get that response versus Handshake. It is a big pool. So don't be discouraged at all if you send like, I don't know, a couple hundred messages and you get a small amount of responses. I would say that's pretty normal. Keep in mind, these are students. They're busy. They have classes, or maybe they saw your message and they thought, oh, I'll respond later. And then it's gone. So don't be discouraged at all by that. And then also just kind of not being afraid to change up the filters, change up your messages. You're going to notice that even throughout the year, some messages are going to get more traction than other ones, and just making sure you're constantly changing it to see what's going to work, especially if it's messaging for internship versus full-time. What students care about does change year over year as well. So really making sure that you're not just having one message and keeping it the same, because then you'll probably just see lower responses in that area. So just not being afraid to try different things, and just being aware it will take a while before you actually get more and more responses there. But I would say that's normal. So don't be discouraged at all.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much, Stephanie and Jenna, for sharing your thoughts and your advice for using Handshake. I hope everyone took notes on that and some really great feedback there. All right. So now kind of moving forward, what we want to do at this time is open the floor, and I'll stop share so that way everyone kind of see each other for any thoughts or questions that you might have either for our Career Center, for you know, maybe follow-up questions with Jenna and Stephanie. But does anyone have any questions about Handshake? And of course, yes, chat is also open for anyone that can't come off mute. So I'm gonna hand it back to Megan, and she's gonna talk a little bit about a follow-up email that you should be receiving soon.
I'm going to change it to Tori and I'll come back to me.
Perfect. Yeah, we'll come back to Megan, but I'll just say thank you all so much for those of us who joined today. And also, if you visited us for any of the previous Coffee with UK Career Services, this was a really great series. And we appreciate that you all have joined us and that there has been interest for some of these topics.